have. So
I,
how many zeros are in a kabillion?
that is a good question. A kabillion zeros, I suppose.
That's right.
Have -1, 4. That's it. Easy. Nothing to do. Anya, in order to find a y-intercept, what do we plug in for 0? I'm sorry, what do we plug in for x? Oh, boy. 0, yeah, thank you. So for this, we end up getting y equals 2 times the quantity 0, that we're plugging in for x, plus 1 squared plus 4. We use PEMDAS. Inside the parentheses comes first. Inside the parentheses gives us 0 plus 1, gives us a 1. 1 squared is 1 times 1. Haley, what is 1 times 1? Good. Haley, what is 2 times 1? Haley, what is 2 plus 4? 6. Good. So our y-intercept is going to be 0, 6. So now we have our 3 points. And we graph. If we start with the axis or line of symmetry, that is at -1. So you get your dash or dotted line. Bring that through. Now you go ahead and we're going to graph our vertex, which is -1, 4. Remember, that is always going to be on that dashed line, 0, 6. And then we reflect or mirror off of the axis of symmetry. So Jason, what's my next point going to be that I'm going to mark down? Can you tell me my x and y value for that? Oh, -2, 6. Yes, that's it. Excellent job. So we got that. And no, it was just. All right. And now we make our parabola. Parabola, remember, is a U. And that's it. Questions on the review problem that we did right there. These are exactly like the homework yesterday. Should be good to go. Make sure you get that homework in so we can start our first day back at school next week on a high note. Woo! Remember, it is first day back. Wear your North Hills spirit gear.
Yeah. You got yours on today.
I don't even know. At least I have more.
Yes. Yes. All North, yeah, Monday is North Hills Day. I think there might be another one too later on.
There's on our photocoming week
Oh, yes, yes,
on
yes,
Friday.
yes. All right, so I said today was going to be a pretty straightforward day. In example 2, without graphing, we're going to determine if the function has a maximum or minimum value. And then it says, find the maximum or minimum value. So a little bit of review reminder. To determine if it has a max or min, we have to think about, does it open up or down? A minimum value happens when the parabola is a happy parabola. And that's when it opens up. Does anybody remember what A is greater than if it opens up? Or what A has to be for the graph to open up? It has to be bigger than 0. So if A is greater than 0, the graph opens up. The minimum value then is whatever your vertex is HK. So the minimum value is the vertex. The vertex is the minimum value. So it's a minimum when the graph opens up, and the vertex is that minimum value. The other one is a maximum. So it's one or the other. It's either a min or it's a max. And when it's a max, it's a frowny face, like the frowny brownie. That means the graph opens down. Opens down, makes a frown. It opens down when A is less than 0 or when it's negative. The maximum is still HK. So the vertex is the maximum or the minimum value. It's max when it opens down, it's min when it opens up. So we're not really going to do any work for these problems. It's more just kind of recognizing the A, H, and K, which is what we've been doing. So there are 3 examples here. Let's look at example 1, kind of pull this together. We're still going to start with A, H, K. So Josh, what are A, H, and K in example A?
A would be 1. H would be 1, or -1, and K would be 1.
Okay, so you're close here. I agree with A and K. H is inside, and it's the opposite of what you see inside. So what would the opposite of that be?
3.
Yeah, there you go. Nice job. All right. So the question says, determine if the function has a maximum or minimum. Well, to do that, we have to look at A. So Haley, is A bigger than 0 or is it less than 0? Bigger than 0. So because A is greater than 0, the graph opens up or down, Haley? And when it opens up, does that mean it's a maximum or a minimum? A minimum. You just want to write M-I-N for min, you can do that too. So that's the first part. Determine if the function has a max or a min. Well, it has a minimum. And then it says, find the maximum or minimum value. Well, the maximum or minimum value is just the vertex. So Haley, what is the minimum value? Well, the minimum value is H and K. So what are H and K here? 3 and 1. And that's it. So it's a minimum. The minimum value occurs at 3, 1. That's all we're doing. Pretty straightforward, but we're not graphing it. So we're able to look just at the equation and say, we know this opens up because A is positive. Therefore, it's a minimum. And that minimum value happens at 3, 1. So looking at letter B, Bill, what are A, B, and C in letter B?
It would be maximum and opens down.
So he said maximum. So looking at A, it's negative, so less than 0. Oops, that's sloppy. And then he said it's a maximum. So Bill, what is the maximum value?
-1, 5.
Excellent, -1, 5. So the vertex in this case is now a maximum. So it can change. Sometimes it's a min, sometimes it's a max, depending on that A. All right, the third one, Haley, we have A, H, and K. What are H and K for letter C? Not number C. Nice. Good. So Emma, is this going to open up or down?
Up.
Yeah, nice. So A is bigger than 0. And Emma, when it opens up, is it a maximum or a minimum?
Minimum.
Excellent. And then finally, Emma, what is that minimum value? Oops, I'm sorry. I've been writing the wrong letters. Mr. King. Supposed to be
sorry.
watching out for me.
I was lost in the sauce over here.
Oh my goodness. I wrote it the first time and then I didn't write it the second time or third time. All right, sorry, Emma. What is the minimum value, Emma?
2, -7.
There we go, 2, -7. Yikes. Any
That's it.
questions?
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy on that, right? That's half your homework. Up, min, down, max, write the point. The other part of the homework is what I was noticing on the quiz, which is a good thing that I have a couple extra examples on here. Example 3 says, write the quadratic function in standard form. Standard form is the first form we talked about. A function can always be switched from one form to standard form by multiplying. We already did this. We're reviewing it again. And it's a good thing I have this in here because definitely there's some errors and misconceptions happening, especially when it's squared. And I think it's because students just don't want to do an extra step. They want to skip a step. So the first thing when you have something squared, that means that whatever's squared is written twice. The 2 does not distribute through until you write it twice. So a lot of students are just putting the 2 through and making it 2x minus 1 squared and then writing that twice. And that's not the case. So you write it twice. You do the exponent first. Then when you distribute, you have to make sure you're distributing it just to the first parenthesis. But it has to go to both numbers in that first parenthesis, not just the x. So this becomes 2x minus 2.
And then that's another thing that I was seeing is not putting the parenthesis around.
Back around it, yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because you're rushing, you don't want to do extra work, but I'm telling you that those mistakes were made on the quiz and they were made on the homework. So make sure that you do show an extra step. Now we use the FOIL process. So we're going to multiply 2x times x and 2x times -1. And then -2x times x, -2 times -1. Also, don't forget that plus 3. So Haley, when we combine our like terms, we have 2 sets of like terms to combine. The 2x squared stays in front. How many x's do we now have? So -2 minus 2 more. And then when you add 1 and 3 together, you get +4. Questions on part A? All right, so look at B and try part B. Again, you must expand it first. So I have to write that x plus 2. If it's squared, it means there are 2 of them. So I need to write it twice. And then the -3 distributes to both. -3x, and then -3 times 2 is -6. And again, as Mr. King said, make sure you place parentheses back around them. The whole goal of taking notes is for you to use them as a reference in case you forget. You can go back and say, oh, that's what I did for this problem when I'm looking at my homework or review worksheet. So Anya, if we now FOIL, we're going to multiply negative 3x times x. What do you get there, Anya?
-3.
And then what's x times x make, Anya?
One.
X times x is x squared. So an x times an x makes an x squared. The next one we're going to multiply is negative 3x times 2. Haley, what is negative 3x times 2? And then inside, Haley, negative 6 times x is. And the last terms, negative 6 times 2 is. Nice job. And then don't forget that minus 5. So just like the last problem, the numbers at the end are like terms. The x's in the middle are like terms. So check your work. See if you got the same answer. Negative 3x squared minus 12x and then minus 17. Questions? There are 2 other remaining problems. In these 2 problems, you don't have 1 parenthesis squared. Instead, you just have 2 parentheses already separated. When you distribute the 2, make sure it goes to both. So this becomes 2x minus 2, and then parentheses right back around those. So Josh, what do we get when we multiply 2x times x?
2x squared.
And then just do the rest of the multiplying, Josh. What's next?
Then it would be negative 10x minus 2x, and then plus 10.
Awesome job. And then when you combine those middle terms, what's your answer?
Negative 12, or 2x
Yep.
squared minus 12x plus 10.
Nice job. Very good. Good. One final problem. Same exact process. That number in front distributes to both. So negative 4x. Negative 4 and negative 4 make plus 12. So make sure you're just careful with that multiplying. And then we do a little bit of FOIL here. So Haley, negative 4x times x. What's next? Good. Nice job. And then finally, the middle terms combine. So negative 4x squared, negative 8 and 12 make a positive 4, and then plus 24. So if you go to wonderful Google Classroom, it didn't shut down on us yesterday. Rely on Google Classroom. All right, it should be appearing in your Google Classroom. It is posted at the top of your screen. The homework is identical to the notes that we just went over. Same exact type of problems. I believe it's also in the same order that we went over it in. Oh, that's right, it went download for me yesterday. There it goes. All right, I apologize for the delay. So actually it's in opposite order. So the first 6 problems are multiplying exactly like we just did. And then there are 3 problems that want you to determine if it opens up or down and whether it's a max or a min. And then you find the max or min value. So remember, it opens up if A is greater than 0. It opens down if A is less than 0. Down is always with max. Every time it goes down, it's a max. Up is always with min. So down max, up min. The maximum or minimum value is the vertex. So I would start off by just listing A, H, and K,
You got it.
not A, B, and C.
I was on it this time.
Remember the H and K. Look at the A value and say up or down, and then say max or min. So Haley, if A is a 1, it's greater than 0, so that means it goes up, and every time it goes up, it's a min. And then what is the minimum value? 6,3, piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Sounds yummy.
So those first 6 problems you're multiplying. The last 2 problems on here, you're actually going to multiply as well. So you're going to multiply these last 2 problems. Write that above. And then this is the old form to try and get you to review that. After you multiply them, you're going to use negative b over 2a to find the axis of symmetry. Mr. King, do you think we should go over any others? So you have about 10 minutes to work. You might be able to get this done, or really close to getting it done. On Monday, we're going to review section 5.2. On Tuesday, I actually have a graphing matching game activity that we're going to do.
Love it.
Wednesday, we're going to do another review of 5.1 and 5.2. And then Thursday, I think we might do maybe a Kahoot or something like that for Friday's test. So a lot of different activities next week, especially having more students in class. It'll be good for us to kind of have some interaction. Anybody at home have questions? As you're working, please let us know if you have questions on the homework. We can go over any of them that you think you would like to see.